All right, let's bring in a professional here because we want to talk cybersecurity here. Bob Kolasky, Senior VP for Exiger. Bob, we have a hot war in Ukraine. I think about cyber aspects to that. What have you noticed in terms of maybe some of the activity over there and what risk it may pose to some Western countries?
Sure. Great to be with you. I mean, I think the first thing I would take away is cyber's been fully integrated into a war plan here. And for Russia, we've seen their attacks not be cyber specific as much as cyber being part of their overall campaign to, illegitimately go after Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. And so that means their attacks have been somewhat strategic, just going after communications infrastructure, which is intentional to hurt the Ukrainian military's command and control, things like that, as well as things against the electric grid and the financial sector, which just cause more inconvenience for, the Ukrainian people and, to help the Russians achieve their war aims. And then you throw that in with some disinformation and using cyber to get access to credentials for Ukrainian military leaders, people involved in the Ukrainian military, and post illegitimate things on social media sites. So it's an attack on credential spear phishing to then get access to sow confusion. Unfortunately, cyber's part of an overall hybrid effort by the Russian government.
Bob, what can we do in terms of retaliatory attacks? Does the U.S. engage in that sort of, warfare? Do we engage in cyber warfare? Will we hit back that way?
So I mean, when you put it in the context of warfare, we're still largely following our own strategic participation in conflict. So you're not going to see us actively attacking, committing an offensive cyber operations that would be thought of as warfare.
But do we have a setup like that?
We have ability to cause harm in Russia, and particularly to cause harm and introduce friction into the operations, the cyber operational system of parts of the Russian government. And, obviously the administration is somewhat circumspect of when that's used. That authority has been given to the Secretary of Defense and to Cybercom to go offensive if it's part of our overall strategic efforts.
So Bob, who kind of runs our cyber, security issues from a military perspective? Is that part of the Department of Defense? Is that the NSA? Where does it really lie, that responsibility? The administration, under the Trump administration, gave authorities to the Secretary of Defense, and the operational command is the Cyber Command, which is linked with the National Security Agency. And actually, the White House right now is undertaking a policy review about what authorities should lie with the Secretary of Defense and where the White House itself, the National Security Council, should be involved in making offensive cyber decisions. And that's the question that the administration is going to be looking at is, are you giving too many authorities to the command, closer to the command? And that's a traditional argument that happens in military operations. Interesting. All right, Bob Kolasky, thanks so much for joining us. Bob Kolasky, Senior VP for Exiger. Talking about cybersecurity in a time of a hot war in Europe, it has to raise the awareness, presumably, of Western countries, Matt. And we've seen it time and time again, as cyber warfare. But it'll be interesting to see to what extent it really comes into the overall plans.
Well, and to what extent we're willing to use it. I mean, it doesn't seem like the Russians have any problem using weapons to an aggressively to the right effect. And the question is, would we be able to? Do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, the expectation is, as Bob was suggesting, is yes, we do that, and but it'd be interesting to see in a time of a very hot war what the U.S. chooses to do, and will we ever know anything about it? Will it be disclosed? All right, looking at these markets.